how do we protect our black women? Like what? How do we support them and make them feel like they are worthy, they are valuable, that where they once were is no more, or we are making change or evolving?
Hmm. That's a loaded question.
Is it loaded? How's it loaded?
It's
Help me
not
out.
loaded, but it's like a lot of work has to be done. First, obviously, we as Black women have to do our own work to find our own value outside of everybody's opinions and stuff, which can be hard if you're constantly like berated. But obviously, we have to do our own work to find our own self-worth and value and not really care about others' opinions. But it also would help to have those authentic interactions with others. So not just being like the token black friend or just like, oh, just I don't even know how to really say it, but it's just really all about authenticity and kind of recognizing when you're in those situations, like standing up for black women and also having the knowledge of those things, like I said, of different presentations of symptoms such as anxiety or depression, and how culturally we as black women can present that differently from other people, and not just automatically labeling us as the angry black woman. That's a hard label to shake. We all already have come in with that. You can walk into a room, me personally, from experience, I've literally walked into a room and people didn't like me because you're intimidating. You just walked in so confidently, like you had everything. You're tall. I can't change that I'm tall, that I'm black, that I walk on my shoulders back or whatever. But it's like there's already a lot of perception for a black woman, especially if she's too confident, if she's educated, that that we're already fighting against. So it's really just giving us the opportunity to come in with a clean slate and not projecting what you think you know about us before we even open our mouth or before you even ask me what's my name.
Or
You
get to
know?
know you, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I would just say give us more leeway or a fair chance to present what we have to say.
And we, as your partner or the black man, we have to, excuse me, we have to do better. This got to change, man. We got to rep y'all better. And we got to love y'all more and better and harder. We have to defend y'all. This was
Mm-hmm.
a great opportunity. And I asked everyone, if you can, Google that take on RC, that podcast, the pivot.
Yeah, we'll definitely link it to this
Because
episode, man.
he broke it down, man. Dude shoots straight, no chaser, man. He broke it down, and he really taught me something, or he gave me an insight on the topic that I hadn't really thought of, but that I agree
Perspective.
with.
Yeah.
I understood what he was saying, and I agree with what he was saying. But he was very articulate how he laid it down, and basically we as black men have to do better. We have to represent, and we have to love y'all. We have to show it towards y'all, not just to the public. We have to interact with you all better as the black woman, the black man. That interaction has to be better because we'll ride that stigma too and try to play y'all to the left and use that as a reason why we dating outside the race or we doing what we doing because y'all come with a bunch of baggage and all that.
But it's like try to understand that baggage. That's what I was trying to say. Like, yes, we may present angry, but it's like, why are we angry? What factors are working on me right now that's making me this hardened defensive person? If
And
that's
that's
what
what dude said. Y'all
yeah.
have to y'all have to be built like that because of the world that y'all facing. Y'all have to have all these skill sets, all these mechanisms, all these defenses. Y'all got to come well equipped
Manufactured that way.
in order to survive. Y'all gotta, when y'all step outside, y'all gotta be ready for any and everything. And that's part of what we gotta understand as the black man, as the brother. We gotta understand, and we gotta salute you all, and we got to have you all back.
I think that being a product of your environment is very important for both being a black man and a black woman, especially in America, right? So it's all about your upbringing and the examples you see that are ahead of you and how you will interact with the rest of the world. So what I say by that is to both points. I want to start with Saran's point on they have to do real work on themselves and to show that they're valuable because and I think that's across the board for all individuals that everyone needs to know their worth, know their value. And for black women, the difficult part is that we can say that, but again, them being so discriminated or disenfranchised or not looked at right, like you see no examples. Like as little girls, black Barbie dolls are fairly new compared to when Barbie was made, right? And the persona and the perspective of that, seeing yourself as a doll, right? Seeing black women in positions of success, not in video vixens and stuff like that, but in positions where the the white girls or the white man or anyone else is making change, right? We're now in an age where this newer generation is afforded that opportunity. Why? Because we now see black women who are able to speak up in positions of power. The presidential campaign that's going on right now. You see black women that are doctors. You see black women that are CEOs. You see black women. Oprah have her own network, have her own show. Shonda Rhimes. You now we're the Issa Rays. We're seeing black women. Angel Reese. She's new to the game, but NIL in terms of NILs and deals in college. So now I have a reason. Oh, I can go to college and market myself and also get an education. So now there's another twofold to that I can have. There are examples, but again, the what the problem is we, especially in the black community, we have a hard time pouring into our own community. It's like once we make it, it's like it was so much work, it was so hard, right? The village has poured into the one person to finally make it, but we don't ever go back to the village for that next generation because best believe the village didn't stop creating or birthing the next generation. They didn't stop. Yeah, I'm not saying go back for mom and grandma. Them they're kind of where they're at, but you now have to go back and be part of the village for that next group and help them come along. And I'm not saying physically go back if it's in a dangerous situation, but there's something you got to give, some insight, some mentorship to bring the next group on. My next piece to that would be to your point, Hardy Boy. We as black men aren't doing enough. Um, and I'm not saying there aren't strong examples. And me personally, I do my best to have a very optimistic and neutral mindset on the terms of I don't date black women because da 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 da, or black men ain't this because all they do is they do. I try to kind of stay in the middle and be like, well, again, you got to look at where they're coming from or where they are at. But at the same time, we also got to be cut and dry, right? We aren't giving enough back. We aren't going back and a lot of times we have this mindset of the black man being the head of the household, but there are so many single parent homes, majority of them being black women. I rarely see outside of Idris Elba and Daddy's Little Girls see a
Mhm.
black man as a single father raising his children. It's always black women that have to be both mom and dad raising maybe one, two, three snotty nose of your children that you have now just have custody to on weekends. So now part of the responsibility is not yours. You send Christmas. You're the best thing ever because all you do is send money and Christmas gifts. You're not there when they're sick. You're not there when they have to go to school every day or when I'm preparing them for school. The daily routine. There's so much that a nourishing black mother or a nourishing black woman is groomed to be at such a young age and they're seeing moms be this. So now in their mindset, oh, that's what I gotta be when I get older, or that's what I don't want to be, so I'm gonna go this direction. You know what I'm saying? So, but we gotta be there, and I'm not speaking on you know just black. I'm talking about even as head of the household, we gotta be there in full because they need to see these interactions. They need to see us as an example because a lot of times a little black girl would date what her father is or what her father has been. She's looking for those same characteristics and traits. Again, product of your environment. A little black boy is looking for his mother's characteristics and traits. You know what I'm saying? But it only stems from where you are in the household. And I think that as black men, we're not doing our due diligence to make you guys feel secure or safe enough. The fact that you're still questioning it, if it's the fact that we're still pressing this and talking about it, there's something wrong. And I don't think you're wrong, Saran, saying that it is a loaded question because it is. I would say, like anything, is going to take time, right? We got to eventually get there, but there needs to be an initial first step to making y'all feel better. And I don't know what that is currently right now on a global scale, but it's on a one-to-one basis. Each individual family needs to grow, and then it will eventually start growing in our communities and feeling. But we got to pour back, and it's going to take those who make it to be the example.
But I think to you, what you just said, though, this campaign is really bringing to light some very powerful women doing their thing. Black women for Kamala, they coming together, man. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and they started something. All that now is white dudes for Kamala. Now is this. They started a
Republicans for
movement, man. Them sisters not playing. They started a movement, and see that's
but
the
they're
start.
always the catalyst. That's the
They
problem.
always been the
They're always been the backbone. They've always been the catalyst. They've always been. But yet, at what point have we always been there for them
but
and poured
social
right back to
media and
them?
all that now allows them to be seen, to be
Mm-hmm.
heard. So yeah, it's always been there, but the environment has changed now where we can see them. So that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, my biggest thing is the example, right? On both men and women. Like we gotta do more examples where the youth is seeing us in great positions, right? And I'm not gonna go any further into detail on what that looks like, but we need to see us in positions because now when you're in that level, your cognitive phase of this new generation is social media heavy. I don't think they know anything outside of the box on their phone and the 5 apps they got, and they making it multiple. But again, we now have to start posting examples. We got to start posting a family together, family trips. We got to see Kamala um, running for president. We got to see the black congresswomen. There's one in Boston, my homegirl. She actually meets and works with her all the time. I forgot her name too. I know her name too. But and Stacey Abrams and all them ladies, even Joy on CNN, just any women that are in positions where they look like they're making, headway and doing good for us. So
But to intervene, sorry to cut you off,
yeah.
our me and your mom, that's the challenge that we're giving you all. You got to be all you can be. You got to be educated. You got to be articulate. You got to be what we always say, walk on water. That's the example. No, you can't go back to the hood or whatever, but some kid is going to see you walking the walk and talking the talk. And that's the example. That is the example. At your little low level, those are the examples that we, because they can see you, they can reach you. They can't imagine seeing, the big ditties and all that, but they other than on the screen. But if I can touch and feel you
The
in the
example was
neighborhood,
crazy, but I feel you.
yeah,
I feel you though. The
you may
LeBron.
not want to touch and
Let's
feel
go with the
Diddy at this
LeBron. I
point.
said the Diddy one might have been. We might want to stick. Let's go with
Right,
LeBron.
bad choice of words. You may not want to
Yikes.
feel and touch Diddy at this point, but they can see you guys in the neighborhood. So I need you to go in and clock in and work hard and be a good example for your neighborhood. That's where it starts. The same way as the election. We need to vote at our local. We
I mean,
reaching for the presidency, but we need to vote at our say again. Okay.
44 days, 13 hours, 35 minutes, and 26 seconds. Okay.
Exactly. So you all, we have put that on you all. That's our challenge as parents. This generation, you all have to be all y'all can be, man, to set that example.
That's beautiful, man. And I think, to your point, what you're saying, Hardy, but in Saran's case, Saran was getting that not only from you guys, but, her auntie, your sister, how being a tall black woman and being confident in your own skin, my aunt is what, 6 foot, and she still be wearing 6-inch heels, man, and just confidently walking, right? Not being ashamed of who you are in total. And I think Sarana said that numerous times. That's probably the biggest thing that stuck out to her early on. She'll use that all day, every day. But again, the village, right? Pouring into our own communities, pouring into our own youth, the next generation. We got to have that. And I think on both sides, that'll help the black woman, feel a little bit more protected, secure, and then guide them in the direction that they need to be guided in. Right. So, um, I think the real issue, of course, comes back to the generational uh segmentations, right? Like we were groomed to like not hate each other, but there's a disconnect.
Crabs in a bucket.
Yeah, like it doesn't, it feels like if we're not rooting for someone, we're arguing with each other. It
There's a
can
slave turn called Willie Lynch. That's
okay.
supposedly how that was. That was by design. Willie Lynch. Google that. Research that back in the history. That was designed to make us, to trick us,
Mm.
all the way back during
To
slavery
keep
time.
us down. If we stay individualized,
Yeah.
if we band together, then it would have clicked. But we got to keep them hating each other. That's how the
Right.
They
white man
if we
gets
make
They
them
power.
beat
stay
themselves,
divided.
right? If they fight themselves, fight amongst themselves, they'll dwindle each other out,
Right.
and we don't have to
And
worry
that's
about.
across all minority groups. Actually, we learned that in my multicultural class. They done that across all multicultural groups. The Hispanics, Koreans, Black, all that. Hypothetically, for example, like the model minority, that's a term that Asians are viewed as the model minority, and that makes, everybody else kind of beefs with them because they're deemed as the goal one or something. But that's
Yeah.
just, again, the white power putting everybody pitting against each other so we can never come together as a human to keep them in power. But that's another discussion.